Action!
So hey guys, I know it's been a while since I made a YouTube video, sorry about that. I just got my brand new DJI Osmo, and I must say it's relatively cool. I'm thinking, I mean, I know there's a lot of people on YouTube saying this is not cool for blogging, but that's not really what I do, is video blogging, so it's going to work great for me. This is kind of a follow-up video. Turn this around. There we go. So this is kind of follow-up video to a video I did quite a while ago about some cheap soft boxes that I got off of eBay, and they've been working really good. I have this kind of open because I want to show some things from the inside of it that had some questions on my channel about. Anyhow, the soft boxes, I mean, it came as a set of 3. You know, I don't know if you ever seen, if you didn't see the other video, it came as a set of 3. That is on a boom. Sorry about my studio, it's kind of a mess. I just got back from playing a show, so it's full of music equipment and lights are kind of in disarray. And that's another boom, and I got 2 straight stands that are more like this one over here, and that the softbox is kind of hanging off of. And yeah, so I got these, I don't know, it must have been a couple of years ago now, and they have been workhorses. I mean, they're kind of falling apart, but I put them through the ringer. I mean, they work pretty much most of the time. There were, as far as a follow-up, there were some downfalls. Let me come over here and show you the inside of this thing. Let me turn this back around. So there were some downfalls to these things. I mean, they were cheap. I got a set of 3 for like, I don't remember now, it was like 60 or 80 bucks. I mean, so the outside build is great. The stands are, you know, they're cheap stands, but they've worked great. I mean, they've worked great. But inside the soft boxes, you can see the light fixtures. Let me come up here, get the Osmo up there. You can see the light fixtures. What they have a habit of doing is breaking. These things break off a lot. But also, you know, I probably am a lot harder on some of my equipment sometimes than other people. But I mean, this little fixture right here, it's a screw-in socket. It holds it holds 4 bulbs instead of 1, and you can get these pretty cheap off eBay. They're like 10 bucks or 5 or 6 bucks. I can't remember. I've had to buy quite a few. But you know, I do a lot of outside stuff too, and with these cheap lights, the wind blows, knocks them over, and they break off. But you know, I mean, those are easy to replace. The soft boxes have held up, and they've been, you know, caught by the wind and thrown around, and they've done, you know, great. But so I would say for the price, they're definitely worth them. They've just been little workhorses, and if you're just doing video blogging at home and that kind of stuff, they're completely worth it. I mean, like I said, I work all the time. I use them all the time, and inside, outside, and they've been thrown around and smacked around. And this is the biggest problem I'm having with them, is this stuff breaks off once in a while. And that's because, you know, I know they're cheap, so I just don't take care of my stuff. And when they're that cheap, so I guess. Anyhow, the question was, can you put strobes inside these soft boxes? So I took a look. Let me come over here to a strobe. So here's a strobe, and you can see the strobe, the back is quite a bigger here for that soft box to fit over the top of that strobe. I mean, the clamp's a lot different than what you have over here on this soft box. I mean, basically you have the stand that comes up, you know, it's a regular light stand, a little cheap, with a little cheap bracket, and then you have a hole here. I mean, I guess if you cut a line down this and you put in a piece of Velcro, you know, you could fit it through there. But the problem is the mount. To keep this to mount, it is part of the whole light fixture right here. So even though this is usually in here, but basically this is a 4 light bulb into 1. So it's basically you have this thing, and then you can see the other part of the light socket that you screw inside there. So this is the screw in for, you normally just have 1 light bulb in here, and if you unscrew that, then you basically can fit a 4 piece in there. So this round part that holds these metal bars on pushes into that. So if you did cut a hole in there and tried to fit a strobe in there, it wouldn't really work. The only way I could think you could do it is if you had basically like the camera mount strobes, you know, basically the ones you mount on your top of your camera. Keep this set up the same way, and maybe cut a hole in here, you know, just inside the right here, and then figured out some way to connect an arm coming from here through that hole, you know, because you kind of need the rest of that bracket to hold this all in place. I'm sorry, I didn't point that. You kind of need the rest of this bracket to hold this all in place. So that's the only way I could see is to, if you got a camera mount strobe and just cut a hole in here and then mount it to that bar. But it seems like you'd probably get a cheaper way of doing it. But I don't know. I mean, that's as far as this particular package, I think if you were to do strobes, you could do it. But you can also go on eBay with the same company that I bought these from, or other ones that are coming from China or whatever. You know, they'll have soft boxes. So anyhow, I hope that helps. And this is my first kind of real test with my DJI Osmo, and I think I'm shooting with too slow of card for shooting in 4K. So I probably shouldn't be shooting in 4K. But I'm gonna do a whole nother video on this Osmo because it's really cool, and I'm actually gonna have a whole little camera rig for it, and do some pretty cool stuff for it. So anyhow, I hope that answered your question. This is more of a video response than an actual post, but hope that answers your question, and we'll talk to you soon.